Welcome back, heroes! Today, we're venturing deep into the eerie world of Duskmourn, House of Horrors, with an exciting new legendary creature, Winter, Misanthropic Guide. This sinister human warlock is not here to make friends, but to twist the game in your favor. I've got 3 unique commander builds that will let you harness Winter's dark power to dominate your opponents. Let's dive right in.
This video is powered by Dubby. Dubby Energy is the maker of a clean gamer energy drink to help enhance focus, concentration, and reaction time with no jitters, crash, or bad ingredients. Head over to dubby.gg and use the code DaHero to get that 10% discount.
First things first, let's break down what Winter, Misanthropic Guide brings to the battlefield. For just 1 black, red, and green mana, you get a 3/4 Legendary Human Warlock with Ward 2. This makes it a bit tougher for your opponents to target Winter with removal spells. But that's not all. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws 2 cards. This may sound generous, but remember, we're playing with black mana here, so there's always a darker side. If you achieve Delirium, meaning there are 4 or more card types in your graveyard, each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by the number of card types in your graveyard, leaving them potentially with just a few cards at the end of their turn. Now that we understand what Winter can do, let's get into 3 builds that make the most of these abilities. Our first build is all about graveyard manipulation. The goal here is to fill your graveyard with as many card types as possible to activate Delirium and reduce your opponent's hand sizes, making Winter's upkeep ability even more oppressive. Here are some key cards to get this build going. Grisly Salvage. This card helps you dig through your deck, potentially adding key creatures or lands to your hand while filling your graveyard with various card types. Stitcher's Supplier, a fantastic early gameplay. This creature mills 3 cards when it enters the battlefield and when it dies, quickly loading up your graveyard. Life from the Loam. A great way to dredge lands into your graveyard while bringing them back to your hand, keeping your mana base strong while ensuring Delirium stays active. Underrealm Lich. This creature lets you filter your draws while filling your graveyard with valuable card types, all while being a difficult threat to remove. Goblin Engineer. Not only can it tutor an artifact into your graveyard, but it can also bring that artifact back to the battlefield, adding both utility and more card types to your graveyard. Maelstrom Pulse. While not directly interacting with the graveyard, this versatile removal spell helps keep the board clear, allowing you time to set up your graveyard strategy. With this build, you'll be able to choke your opponent's hands while you draw into your win conditions. The more card types in your graveyard, the fewer cards your opponents can keep, pushing them closer to defeat. Next up is our group hug with a twist build. Winter's upkeep trigger seems like it benefits everyone by drawing 2 cards, but in this build, we twist that benefit to work in our favor and punish our opponents. Here are some key cards for this strategy. Kederek Parasite. When you control a red permanent, whenever an opponent draws a card, Kederek Parasite deals 1 damage to that player. This card turns the extra draws into a slow burn for your opponents. Underworld Dreams. An enchantment that punishes opponents by dealing 1 damage to them every time they draw a card. Combined with Winter's ability, your opponents will take consistent damage every upkeep. Liliana's Caress. Whenever an opponent discards a card, they lose 2 life. This pairs well with any forced discard effects you have in the deck, especially when opponents are drawing so many cards. Spiteful Visions. This enchantment forces each player to draw an additional card on their turn, but every time they draw a card, they take 1 damage. This adds another layer of punishment as your opponents draw extra cards. Fate Unraveler. A creature that deals 1 damage to each opponent whenever they draw a card. It's a perfect complement to Winter's ability, ensuring that each card draw comes with a price. This group hug with a twist build creates the illusion of helping everyone, but in reality, you're setting up to capitalize on every extra draw while making it harder and harder for your opponents to keep up. Your opponents will be drawing cards, but every card drawn brings them closer to defeat. Finally, let's talk about a hand disruption build. This strategy is all about keeping your opponent's hands empty so they can't respond to your threats. Here's how you do it. Thoughtseize, a classic 1-mana spell that lets you strip a key card from your opponent's hand early in the game, setting them back before they can get started. Blightning. This spell forces an opponent to discard 2 cards and deals 3 damage to them, putting pressure on both their hand and life total. Liliana of the Veil, a powerful planeswalker that can force each player to discard a card every turn, helping you keep your opponent's hands empty while also feeding your graveyard for Delirium. Rakdos' Return, an X-cost spell that deals X damage to a target opponent and forces them to discard X cards. This can be a devastating blow to an opponent's hand and life total late in the game. Mind Shatter, another X-cost discard spell, but instead of being random like Mind Twist, it forces a target opponent to discard X cards, giving you control over what they lose. Davriel, Rogue Shadow Mage, a planeswalker that deals damage to opponents if they have 1 or fewer cards in hand and can force opponents to discard cards with its minus ability, complementing the hand disruption theme. This hand disruption build focuses on systematically depleting your opponent's hands, leaving them with few options to deal with your threats. Combined with Winter's ability to shrink their hand size, you'll have them on the defensive, struggling to keep up with your relentless assault. And there you have it, heroes. 3 powerful and unique builds for Winter Misanthropic Guide. Which one are you excited to try out first? Let me know in the comments which deck build you want to see in action, and I'll turn it into a full video just for you. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update from DaHero. Until next time, keep playing and stay legendary.